Orchids, a world of beauty and diversity, waiting to be understood and appreciated. These enchanting plants are known for their striking flowers, but that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to their allure. There's no other family of plants quite like orchids, with over 25,000 naturally occurring species that span every corner of the globe. Orchids aren't just tropical beauties. They can be found in a variety of environments, from humid rainforests to arid deserts, high mountaintops to cool woodland terrains. This wide distribution is testimony to their incredible adaptability. Each species has evolved to thrive in its specific habitat, displaying a remarkable range of forms, sizes, and colors. Let's take a journey into the world of orchids. Picture the Phalaenopsis or moth orchid, known for its elegant, fluttery flowers. It hails from the warm, humid environments of Asia. Then there's the Dendrobium with its vibrant, clustered blooms found in diverse regions from Australia to the Himalayas. And we can't forget the Cattleya, often called the Queen of Orchids, native to the tropical Americas. These are just a few examples of the stunning variety of orchids. Each species has unique characteristics, such as the vanilla orchid, the only orchid that produces an edible fruit, or the tiny platystele, with some species bearing flowers as small as 2 millimeters. But what makes orchids truly fascinating is their intricate relationships with their environments. Their roots, for instance, are designed to attach to trees or rocks, not for parasitic reasons, but to elevate themselves to better light conditions. Some orchids have even developed complex symbiotic relationships with specific insects for their pollination. Appreciating the diversity and adaptability of orchids helps us understand their care needs. It's not about forcing them to adapt to our homes, but about creating environments that mimic their natural habitats. Understanding these exotic beauties is the first step towards growing vibrant orchids. Creating a perfect environment at home for your orchids is not as complex as it seems. Let's start with light. Orchids need plenty of bright, indirect light to grow. Too much direct sunlight can scorch the leaves, while too little light may lead to poor growth and few, if any, blooms. Placing your orchids near an east or west-facing window can provide the ideal balance. Now let's move on to temperature. Most orchids prefer intermediate temperatures between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit during the day, and between 55 and 60 degrees at night. This temperature range mimics the orchid's natural habitats, encouraging healthy growth. Next up is humidity. Orchids thrive in environments with 60 to 80% humidity. But don't worry, you don't need to turn your home into a tropical rainforest to achieve this. Simple solutions like placing a humidity tray under your orchids or grouping them together can effectively increase humidity levels. Air circulation is another key factor to consider. Good air movement mimics the orchid's natural environment and helps to prevent disease. A gentle fan or even the natural airflow from an open window can do the trick. Last but not least, let's talk about the growing medium. Orchids are not typical houseplants. They are epiphytes, meaning they grow on trees in their natural habitat. So, they require a special orchid mix that allows excellent drainage and air circulation around the roots. Regular potting soil just won't cut it. Creating the right conditions may seem daunting at first, but with a little effort and creativity, you can transform your home into a perfect orchid haven. Remember, the goal is not to match the orchid's natural environment exactly, but to create conditions close enough to encourage healthy growth and blooming. With the right conditions, orchids can thrive and bloom beautifully in your home. So let's get started on your orchid growing journey. Watering and feeding your orchids correctly is crucial to their health and longevity. Now let's dive into the art of watering and feeding these exquisite plants. It's essential to understand that orchids are not your typical houseplants. They hail from diverse environments, from tropical rainforests to arid deserts, and their watering needs vary accordingly. A common myth that circulates among orchid enthusiasts is the ice cube method. This method suggests placing an ice cube in the pot once a week to supply the plant with a slow, steady source of water. However, this technique is far from ideal. Remember, most orchids are tropical and subtropical plants, and they aren't accustomed to the icy cold. Instead, the secret to watering orchids lies in mimicking their natural habitat. The majority of cultivated orchids are epiphytes, meaning they grow on trees in their natural habitat, with their roots exposed to the air. This exposure allows the roots to quickly absorb water and then dry out. So how do we mimic this at home? The answer is simple: thorough watering followed by a period of drying. Submerge the pot in water for about 10 to 15 minutes, allowing the roots to soak up the moisture they need. Then, let the excess water drain away, ensuring the roots aren't left sitting in water, which can lead to root rot. Repeat this process when the top inch of the potting medium feels dry to the touch. As for feeding, orchids require a well-balanced fertilizer to thrive. A general rule of thumb is to feed weekly. This means applying a diluted orchid fertilizer once a week during the growing season. But remember, less is more. Over-fertilizing can do more harm than good. Lastly, don't forget about the importance of air movement around your orchids. In their natural habitat, they receive plenty of fresh air, and this helps to keep diseases at bay. With proper watering and feeding, your orchids will grow strong and healthy. So let's move on to the next step in our orchid care journey: repotting and care. Repotting your orchids is more than just a change of scenery, it's essential for their growth. Now, let's dive into the world of repotting and care. When should you repot your orchids? This is usually every 2 to 3 years, but the best time is just after the orchid has finished blooming. Your orchid will tell you when it's time. If you notice the roots are outgrowing the pot, or if the potting medium has broken down and is retaining too much water, it's time to give your orchid a new home. So how do you repot an orchid? First, remove the orchid gently from its current pot. Take a moment to examine the roots. Trim away any that are brown or mushy. These are the signs of root rot. Healthy roots are firm and a vibrant green. Next, choose a new pot that's just big enough to accommodate the roots. Orchids like to feel snug. Fill the bottom of the pot with fresh orchid mix, then hold the plant in place while you fill around the roots with more mix. Don't pack it too tightly though. Remember, orchids like well-draining soil. Now let's discuss some common health issues. Yellow leaves can mean too much light or possibly a nutrient deficiency. Dark, soft spots on the leaves could indicate a fungal or bacterial disease, while wrinkled leaves often mean the plant isn't getting enough water. Each of these issues requires a different approach. If your orchid is getting too much light, move it to a shadier spot. For nutrient deficiencies, a balanced orchid fertilizer can help. Fungal or bacterial diseases often require a fungicide or bactericide, while wrinkled leaves might mean you need to water more frequently or check if the roots are healthy. Remember, growing orchids is a journey. Each orchid has its own personality, and part of the joy is learning to understand its needs. Proper repotting and care can ensure your orchids stay vibrant and disease-free. So roll up your sleeves and give your orchids the care they deserve. They'll reward you with spectacular blooms year after year. Every orchid lover dreams of spectacular blooms. We'll reveal the secrets to achieving this. Orchids, with their stunning flowers and lush leaves, are not just plants. They're a labor of love. And the most rewarding part? That's when they bloom. But how do you coax these exotic beauties into showing off their spectacular flowers? It's all about understanding their needs and mimicking their natural habitat. Light manipulation and temperature variations play a key role here. Orchids need a balance of light and darkness to bloom. Too much light and the leaves turn yellow. Too little, and they become dark green and the plant won't bloom. A bright indirect light is just right. Temperature is another secret. Orchids are tropical plants and they love warmth during the day and cooler temperatures at night. This temperature drop triggers blooming. So try to give your orchids a temperature variation of about 10 to 15 degrees between day and night. And remember, patience is key. Orchids aren't fast bloomers. They take their time, but the result is worth the wait. A well-cared-for orchid can bloom for several months, providing a spectacular display of color that can brighten up any room. So adjust the light, tweak the temperature, and wait for the magic to happen. With these blooming secrets, you're on your way to growing vibrant orchids. Growing vibrant orchids is a journey of learning and understanding these exotic beauties. From appreciating their diverse varieties to mastering optimal growing conditions, watering, feeding, and repotting intricacies, we've unraveled the secrets of coaxing them into bloom, shedding light on their unique needs and behaviors. Orchids are not just flowers, they are a testament to nature's marvel, thriving under your care. With these secrets in hand, embark on your orchid growing journey and watch them bloom spectacularly.